What is up, guys? Emo Cat Dad here, hanging out with you, bringing you yet another Emo Cat Dad listen. If you're new here, let me quickly tell you what I, your friendly neighborhood Emo Cat Dad, am doing, talking with you through the YouTubes or the TikToks, wherever you're watching this. I have vowed every day in 2024 to check out a new band or artist every single day. I check out 4 songs from across their discography, give you my thoughts about songs individually, give you my ranking of the songs, and of course, give you my overall thoughts on the artist based on those 4 songs I've heard, and only those. You guys have been a great help through all of this, giving me lots of suggestions to check out, and that's what this one is today. As you can see right there, I'm checking out Johnnie Guilbert. Now, if you were on Scene YouTube 10 years ago, you know exactly who this is. If you were not, I shall enlighten you. But before I do that, if you have any suggestions for bands or artists like this one, feel free to leave them in the comments below so I can get to them at a later date. I got a good list going. I want to keep it up, so I need your guys' help for that. So what do I know about Johnnie Guilbert? I know he was a YouTuber. I don't recall if he did music back in those days. I wasn't big on Scene YouTube. I was kind of getting away from that side of the scene because I was much more into the pop punk and emo, and it was skewing into, I don't even know how to explain it, like the acoustic, soft, sad boy stuff, like the Ready Set and Say We Can Fly. There's a major one that I can't think of that is like the big one. Never Shout Never. It came to me. So I mostly stayed away from the YouTube music side of things because it was a lot of that on an acoustic guitar. Wasn't my favorite. But as I've grown, I've come to appreciate it. The Ready Set is an artist in particular that I've gone back to, and I've really enjoyed his stuff. So, as I mentioned earlier about suggestions, feel free to suggest some bands like that if you think I'll now dig them after all these years. Johnnie Guilbert was one of those, and of course he got his start with the Bryan stars. I'm not going to rehash that drama. There's enough videos on YouTube or TikTok, so we'll rehash the whole thing. Johnny has spoken at length about it as well, about his experiences, so not going to trudge that up, but the information is available if you choose to seek it out. So basically what I expect of his music is kind of that sad boy acoustic guitar stuff. And I notice on his Spotify here, his biography is he plays acoustic music, so I guess I'm probably right. So Johnny has 3 full lengths according to Spotify, so I'm going to check out a song from each of those, and it looks like he's released a bunch of singles in the past little while, so I'm going to check out one of those as well to go with it, but let's start with the albums. Let's drop back to 2018 with I Could Sleep Here, I Could Die Here, and I listened to his song Afraid.
I am stuck on the floor. Can't.
Okay, so overall my thoughts on Afraid are, it's pretty impressive, especially for like a YouTuber turned musician. Like I said, I'm not sure if he was into that music side of things. I know he did a bunch of scene vlogs. And I expected the music to be more muted. In my head, I pictured Never Shout Never with his little ukulele. This was much more prominent. It was still an acoustic guitar, but not as muted as I expected. And honestly, he's got good vocals. He's got a good set of pipes. But I was taken aback. All right, so next up, I checked out Anxiety from his next album, The Last Thing I Need Is Help.
And I don't know where we went wrong. And
So musically, this is basically a similar vibe to the other song. I know there's only so much you could do with just an acoustic guitar, but it felt kind of same in that regard. That being said, he did play with some new sounds here. Speaking of Never Shout Never, there was some uke sounds in there, and I really enjoyed them being mixed in. It was a fun little Easter egg. But mostly I want to highlight the lyrics of this song and the last one. This is clearly therapeutic for Johnny, so good on him for putting pen to paper and writing these songs that hopefully someone out there can connect with. Final album, it's called It Was All For Nothing, and I checked out All My Friends Are Dead.
I can't say I'm not disappointed.
right, so this one's upbeat. Not sure if he had a session with the band or if these were all Pro Tools that he used for the extra instruments or if he played them. If he played them, that's even more impressive. But musically, anyways, I had a bunch of fun with this track. It wasn't all good, though. The vocal delivery wasn't as good as the other two songs. Maybe his voice just fits the acoustic, or maybe he didn't quite know how to translate it if this isn't a thing he does normally. Again, I don't know. I'm just checking out these 4 songs at random. The bridge was cool. I wish it didn't repeat itself and instead gave us some new lines, but I'll keep my complaints to a minimum because I had so much fun with this song overall. All right, last but not least, like I said, he released a bunch of singles in the last little bit. Zombie seems to be the most popular, so I'm going to hit play on that.
In that body, 'cause you got me acting like you.
Alright, so it's back to the acoustics for this track. Not that that's a bad thing, but he didn't just rehash those 2 earlier tracks I listened to. He added some keys and some drums to this as well to up the musicality, and honestly, it played very well with his acoustic guitar. My only issue was at the bridge, it slowed down and it seemed to be building towards something. So I was hoping for one of those big crescendos. I've talked about so much, how much I love hearing those. And it didn't happen. It just kind of went back to the regular chorus and closed out the song. So I'm disappointed, but I guess I can't be terribly surprised given the information that I had and that, you know, outside of the one song that was surprisingly upbeat, everything else was acoustically driven. All right, so those were the 4 songs I listened to. Let's rank them. Starting at number 1, we're going to do All My Friends Are Dead. Not hard. I'm wearing a New Found Glory sweater. I like upbeat pop punk. This is the closest we got to that. It wasn't perfect by any stretch, but I had a blast. And honestly, when you're listening to music, that's what you want. You just want to have a good time for the most part. Sometimes you want to get sad. He has songs for that too. At number 2, I'm going to go Zombie. Still a good song. Really, my only complaint was I wish we got a crescendo, which that's just me wanting something in a song that the artist isn't providing. He didn't do anything bad by any stretch. Number 3, I'll give it to Anxiety. Honestly, 3 and 4 are pretty interchangeable. This is basically getting it for the ukulele sound and nothing else, because it had such a similar vibe to our number 4 song, Afraid. No issues with this song whatsoever. Not too often does it happen where the number 4 track I still think is good, but that's exactly what we have here. So my overall thoughts on Johnnie Guilbert are obviously, Johnny, you're doing a great job. Really liked what I heard. Really stoked to see what you have in store in the future. I seen you in the Somerset music video. You're looking good. I'm jealous of your hair. I gotta stop doing these on bands that have better hair than me. But then again, if I stop doing that, then basically I wouldn't have any bands to talk about. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging out and checking out Emo Cat Dad Listens with me. I appreciate you so much. As mentioned, please leave me some comments of bands or artists I should be checking out. I would appreciate it very much. And come back tomorrow when I'll be doing this again. And hey, do you know the easiest way to ensure that you're coming back? It's to either follow me on TikTok or to do that favor I always ask you guys to do. And that's cut my wrists and hit subscribe. Friendly Neighborhood Emo Cat Dad signing off. But until tomorrow, I want to hear you sad.